By total chance, I stumbled upon video evidence of my Uber riders stealing from me. Literally behind my back, making me look like a total fool.
Thanks again for the book, guys. I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything.
I'm not gonna lie, when I first saw it, I was pretty tilted, but after I calmed myself down, it dawned on me. I could paint the picture of the heist that occurred in my Uber the way it's been painted a million times before, without nuance, with a clear bad guy to give the cancel culture vultures a victim to feed on, somebody to point their fingers at in judgment and say, I would never do that. I could even go out of my way to present myself as a charming and wholesome protagonist, an everyday man out here just trying to earn an honest buck and put some smiles on people's faces as I do it, and along comes a villain who takes full advantage of our hero's trust and goodwill. And I could even lean into what happened and pretend I'm still so very upset about it in order to create drama and gain favor from you watching. And that simple narrative would give the people what they want. Somebody to point their fingers at and say, that's the bad guy. But if I learned one thing from meeting thousands of people in my Uber, sometimes in their very worst state, it's that people are a lot more complex than that. I always remember this one middle-aged guy who could barely make it into my car without assistance, and then during the ride was into himself in a way that was making me a little uncomfortable. Now, I would never suspect that a guy like that would turn out to be one of the most generous people to ever get in my Uber. And if you ask me, the surprising Uber rider character reveal is one of the most interesting parts about this gig. So if you'll indulge me, I'm going to tell the story this way, with nuance. If you were looking for that simple bad guy, good guy narrative that's going to make you feel worse about the world, I don't know, go watch the news or something. But I know I learned something very valuable from this event, and I wanted to share it. You might remember this group from my video about the insanity of Uber Teen, you know, that new service where we're letting 13-year-olds get in cars with strangers from the internet. Well, other than lying about their age, which may seem trivial at the surface, but actually could have had some pretty dire consequences.
You want to sit in the garage and smoke a joint? I'm being so dead serious.
I would if I wasn't driving. That's really cool.
Well,
also, wait a second. Are you guys in college or high school?
We're in college.
Are you lying to me?
No.
Okay, cool.
Yes, watching this back, I realized how stupid that question was.
Are you lying to me?
No.
Okay, cool.
Does it get any dumber than asking somebody that you think is lying if they are lying and expecting them not to lie about the lying?
Are you really in college? Because if I'm getting from high schoolers, that's like very problematic.
No, I have a med card. They're all of age.
Other than the Mary Jane jailbait, they were actually pretty awesome. You can usually get a good vibe from the group from the jump, and right away they were super friendly.
So, like, I got worms.
What kind of worms?
No, you got worms. Yeah, pretty much. So what's up with the pet store? Like, I got worms. Are you saving up your money? You see your bio on Uber.
Oh, yeah. I always forget that's in there. It's a movie quote.
Not to toot my own horn, but come on, tell me this is not the perfect quote for an Uber bio.
This isn't my real job, you know. My friend Harry and I are saving up our money to open our own pet store.
But I've had it in there for like a year, and nobody's ever gotten it.
I got worms.
We are becoming so uncultured as a society.
That's what we're going to call it. I got worms. We're going to specialize in selling worm farms.
Oh,
Yeah.
from what?
Wait, but I thought you had a real pet store. I was gonna buy some shrimp from you.
Yeah, we were gonna like.
I got a book if you want to buy a book. Do I go straight here?
No, you got.
Yeah, I don't know why I was saying.
Wait,
You have a book?
about what?
Yeah, crazy Uber experiences.
Are you serious?
Can
Yeah.
I read it?
How long
Yeah,
have you
there's
been Ubering for?
off and on for like 5 years now.
Oh, so you got a lot of stories.
I got a lot of
Hit-
stories.
you're
But
gonna
can you
do-
just give me an example of a book?
This is like,
can we get a book example? So that
I mean, there's a copy of the book in the seam right
take
in front
it.
of you. I mean, I'm
Oh,
selling them. I'm selling them. They're not
For how
free.
much?
It's
For how much?
$20 bucks.
Oh shit, that's a lot of money.
Hell yeah.
Well, what would not be like?
10. We'll take it for 10.
All right, I'll sell these. Yeah, Venmo works.
Here's the thing. I fully understand that when people buy a book from me in my Uber when they first met me, they're not doing so because they know I'm a masterful storyteller that will leave them on the edge of their seats during some parts, aghast at others, and laughing out loud over and over again. People in my Uber are buying a book because they see a guy out there trying and they respect it. They don't know me. They might not even necessarily like me. They just see somebody working hard and they want to support. And that's something that a kind-hearted person does, and that's who this girl is. And that's why I would never think that kind of person would steal from me.
Thanks again for the book, guys. I really appreciate it. Good luck with everything.
So when I looked in the back seat after they got out, as I always do to make sure nobody left anything, and I noticed that the seat pocket that holds my books was looking a little light, I completely brushed off the idea that these girls might be the culprits. Not only were they friendly and nice enough to Venmo me for a book to begin with, but I also remembered what they agreed to at the end of the ride, and if they did steal, it would have to be the dumbest thing for a thief to ever agree to. So there I am, counting and recounting the number of books in that seat pocket like a total schmuck trying to make sense of it, and eventually I just chalked it up to me misremembering the number of books I started with. That is, until I was editing my last video, which ironically had to do with teenagers not being mature enough to take Uber, and by total chance I caught these girls in 4K. Alright, it's actually 1080p, but 4K sounds cooler. I wouldn't have even noticed it if they weren't giggling and whispering to each other as they unloaded my seat pouch into their bags.
You want to sit in the garage and smoke a joint? I'm being so dead serious.
I would if I wasn't driving. That's really cool.
Well, you
also, wait a second. Are you guys in college or high school?
We're in college.
Are you lying to me?
No.
Okay, cool.
I know at face value you might think it's just a couple of books, but you gotta understand, I worked on the better part of last year to bring this thing to fruition, spending more time and money than I care to admit, and I've been grinding my off trying to get this book out, and it's been hard enough to do that without people coming into my own car and stealing from me. Not gonna lie, when I first saw it, I was pretty pissed. But that very same day, as if the algorithm knew that I was in need of some guidance, this popped into my feed. Now before I show you this video, I have to say this is by far the most concerning part of this story. How the hell did the algorithm know that I needed to see this? And this wasn't even the first time I saw this video, so it wasn't by chance. This is so much deeper than, say, my phone hearing me talk about sneakers and then showing me a sneaker ad. That recently happened, by the way. I'm not upset about it. We are talking about the phone recognizing a feeling I had, a feeling that I didn't even tell anyone about, because, you know, I'm a man. Gotta bottle that shit up. Push it down. And despite those closest to me having no idea about how I was feeling, the almighty algorithm knew. How did it do that? We are living in the Matrix. Get out while you still can. Sorry, I digress. To the video that saved me.
People are just walking in front of it like we're not recording.
It happens. People are people. None of it's intentional. Never attribute to malice what can be attributed to incompetence. It's far more likely that they're all in their own worlds, doing their own thing. They're not paying attention to the world around them.
It's called Hanlins Razor, named after a guy named Robert J. Hanlin who published it in a book in 1980. That's worth mentioning because it was stupidity, not malice, that attributed the quote to him in the first place, despite the same sentiment being said by numerous people before him. So basically the name of this principle is evidence that the principle holds water. Now before I highlight the absolute dumbest thing that these girls did, the point I'm trying to make is this girl wasn't thinking about the hours and hours and thousands of dollars I spent trying to bring this book to fruition. And she certainly wasn't thinking about how I would feel when I watched this video and saw two people literally mocking me and stealing from me behind my back in my own car. She wasn't thinking of any of that. She was just wrapped up in her own world, probably trying to look cool in front of her friends. And in doing so, she became somebody who stole from an Uber driver. But that doesn't change the fact that she was also a kind-hearted person who bought a book from that Uber driver in the first place. If I learned one thing from meeting thousands of people in my Ubers, it's that 99% of people aren't good people, and they aren't bad people. They're just people with the capacity to do both at any given moment. And usually, I think people choose to do right, but when they choose to do wrong, it's not necessarily who they are, it's just who they are in the moment. Most of the time, as a result of selfishness or stupidity, not anything personal against the person that they're hurting. And when I remember that, not just with this instance, but any instance where I feel like I've been personally wronged, it makes me feel better about things, you know? And I know this kumbaya approach doesn't put the stolen books back into my seat pocket, but it sure is a lot easier going through life knowing that people aren't out to get you. And if you needed proof that this chick was acting out of sheer stupidity, when she realized that the camera-shaped object hanging from my windshield was a camera, you know, that thing with the display that's lighting up the entire car and showing the 5 of us on screen.
The reason I wrote a book is because I built up a following on YouTube. So
Are you?
yeah.
Oh shit, he's recording right now!
So what I was going to say was, I can't.
Does this master thief think, oh snap, I was caught on camera stealing something. Maybe I should put it back. Nope. This genius and her thieving little friend who was in on the heist as well say this.
Can you blur? No. If you blur our faces, you can put it in.
Yeah, blur out.
You know I would be the one blurring your face, right? Honestly, maybe it isn't even stupidity. Maybe it's just blatant disrespect. Like, yeah, I know you're gonna see what I did. What are you gonna do about it? Blur my face, you little Uber bitch. If you want to find out the surprising truth about whether or not it's legal for your Uber driver to post you without your permission, you can click this video here. Spoiler alert, I was just being nice. In the meantime, since you made it this far, it would be rude of me not to offer you the same deal that I gave to these conniving little thieves. So, for a limited time, head to eddiepdoyle.com and use the code 5FINGERDISCOUNT to get 50% off your entire order. If you ask me, that's a steal.